Hey, this is Festus telling you that Mommy's about to film her TBR Bookshelf Tour, and she's really excited for you guys to watch it. And that's all I really have to say. I'm cute, I'm Festus, I'm a bearded dragon. Yeah, so please enjoy watching this video of all the books Mommy hasn't read yet, but she will get to pretty soon because she loves to read, and I like to be on her shoulder while she reads because I love my mommy.
Hey guys, it's me, Jessica, and today I'm showing you my TBR shelf plus stacks as well, because I have a couple of stacks here of books that I can't fit on my shelf. Now I know I recently did a book haul, so I'm going to kind of skip over the books that I did haul, and we'll just get straight to the shelves, and hopefully this will go quite fast. We're going to start up on the top shelf here, and then we'll go to the stacks down below, and then we'll go to the second shelf, and then we'll go to the third shelf, and then that'll be it for the video. Let's get started! Okay, so I have this little cool create thing here because I kind of want to get that tattooed on my arm, but I also hate needles, so that might never happen. But we're going to go on. So I already held this book. I've got Beastly Bones by William Ritter. This is the second book in the Jack B series, and I want to read it this year, possibly. I've been reading a lot of historical fiction, and I'm really enjoying it. So maybe go to the Beastly Bones soon. I've got Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson. I've got Lux Opposition by Jennifer L. Armentrout. I've got Perchance to Dream and So Silver Bright. These are by Lisa Mentichev. I think that's how you pronounce her last name. This got Undivided by Neil Shusterman, which I really need to get to because it's the final book in the Unwind Dystology. And then I've got Ignite Me by Tahara Mafi, which is the third book in the Shatter Me series, because Restore Me is coming out this year, so I guess it's a series. And I'm definitely going to get to that book this year. This front shelf is kind of like the books that I want to get to pretty soon. Kind of, that's how it goes. It's been a little mixed up now because I've just been shoving books on there that can fit. So, yeah. So in this middle stack here, we have Skullduggery Pleasant Armageddon Outta Here by Derek Landy. This is a compilation of short stories that take place in the Skullduggery Pleasant universe and are about Skullduggery Pleasant and things like that. So I want to get to this book and read it. Next we have Shadowrun, which I have hauled. It's by Adriana Strickland and Michael Miller. Really want to get to this book because it's sci-fi and I love it. Next I have The Curse of the Wendigo by Rick Yancey. I also do have The Monstrantologist by Rick Yancey. It's currently over by my bed because I kind of started reading it and then I kind of stopped reading it, but I will get back to it, so yeah. Next I have Alive by Scott Singler. This is the first book in the Alive trilogy, I believe. I did find the second book at a used bookstore called McKay's, but I didn't buy it because I haven't read this book yet, and I want to read this book before I start buying other books in the series. Though sometimes I do it, like I did The Curse of the Wendigo and I bought The Monstrologist together. So sometimes that happens. Next I have The Hammer of Thor and The Ship of the Dead. This is the second and third book in the Magnus Chase and the Gods of Asgard trilogy by Rick Riordan. I do have Magnus Chase, the first book, The Sword of Summer. It's currently on the stack that's like right below, right here. And this stack is kind of the books that I really want to read this year, so we'll get to that. Next we have Skullduggery Pleasant Resurrection by Derek Landy. This is the 10th book in the Skullduggery Pleasant series. I can't believe he's continued on with it, but it makes me very happy that he did. And up here I have a Pirates of the Caribbean Tsum Tsum, Disney Tsum Tsum that I got on sale that I love. Next we have The Liar of the Dreams by Libba Bray. I do have The Diviners, and that also is at the bookshelf stack that's right over there, so you'll see that later. Next we have Afterworlds by Scott Westerfield. I've never read a Scott Westerfield book before, and I got this half off, so I really, really want to read it and get to it. It's just so big and so heavy, but I do want to read it, so yeah. Next I have the Bane Chronicles and the Tales of Shadowhunter Academy. And these, the Bane Chronicles is by Cassandra Clare, Sarah Rees Brennan, and Maureen Johnson. And then the Tales of Shadowhunter Academy are by Cassandra Clare, Sarah Rees Brennan, Maureen Johnson, and Robin Westerman. How I remember all of those names is incredible, but yeah. And these are the only two kind of Shadowhunter saga books that I haven't read yet, and I do want to get to them, like, real badly. Alright, so we are on the second half of the first shelf here, and we're going to start off with this little section here. We have Vicious by V.E. Schwab, and then we have A Study in Starlight and The Last of August, and these are by Brittany Cavallaro? Brittany Cavallaro, I think is how you pronounce her last name. And then we have Lola and the Boy Next Door and Isla and the Happy Ever After, and these are by Stephanie Perkins. I want to read these books. Oh my god, I am doing the theme of the month for February is romance, and I haven't picked these books for it. Oops, here. I guess I should take these out and have them there just in case. So the next books I have are Midnight Thief, and these are by, Midnight Thief is by, I think it's Livia Blackburn. And I want to get to that book real soon because I just love the concept of it and I really want to read it. So that is going to be pretty soon, hopefully. Next we have The Vault of Dreamers and The Rule of Mirrors, and this is from the author of the Birthmarked series. Yes, I get that, but what is the author's name? Cara M. O'Brien. Cara M. O'Brien. Yeah. And so these are actually both, art copies that I got at the thrift store. So yeah. Next we have Keeper of the Lost Cities, and this is by Shannon Messenger. It's a middle grade that just looks absolutely fantastic and I would like to read. Next we have Eleanor and Park and Carry On. These are my other two Rainbow Rowell books. As you guys know, I have Fangirl as well. Alright, so moving on over, we have The Knife of Never Letting Go by Patrick and Ness. I have other copies of this, but this is just another copy I have that I've put back here because it fits. Then I have Fate of the Flames, and this is by Sarah Riley. Riley, I think. This is an art copy that I have that I really want to read because the second book is out and I just think the concept is amazing. Next we have a bunch of Agatha Christie's. We have The Tuesday Club Murders, Evil Under the Sun, Cards on the Table, and Death on the Nile. The three-act tragedy as well. And then on the bottom here we have some more, which is The Secret Anniversary, Nemesis, and the Murder of Roger Ackroyd, yes. And then we have all of my Shakespeare's here, and they are all organized based on when they were first performed. So we have Richard III, A Midsummer's Night's Dream, Twelfth Night, Measure for Measure, Othello, King Lear, The Scottish Play, Priscillus, and then also Shakespeare's sonnets as well. I think the next one I want to read is actually Measure by Measure because my brother is doing a short version of it in his high school and he is in it. So I want to read Measure for Measure real quick. And I know it's a comedy, so I'm excited for that as well. So yeah, this is the back of the other shelf. I know there isn't a lot of books in this back shelf, but this is what I got. Yeah. So we're going to move on. Okay, so we're going to start on this stack in the middle here. On top of there, I have Toulouse Marie Berlizo? Aristocrat kitten names are so hard, and I believe this is, I forgot his name. Starts with an R though. I feel so bad. I haven't watched the Aristocrats in forever, but they are the ones that are on top of my stack of books. These are this stack of books is the books that I hope to be getting to real soon. They're kind of like the books that I want to read this year. You'll see a lot of recurring ones, as you can tell. I'm going to take off the first four because you've already seen those. Then we have Renegades by Marissa Meyer. This is one of the books that I had for my book of the month in December, and hopefully that I want to read it. I've heard it's really good, so I want to read it. Next we have Brave Mercy, which you guys know I did. Rose Society as well. The Winter's Curse. Next we have The Song Rising by Samantha Shannon. Another book that I wanted to read last year but never got to. I don't know why. Like, books in my favorite series, I'll get them and I'll be so excited to read them, and then I won't read them. So I definitely want to get to this book this year, and I actually know where I'm going to slip it in. But yeah, so that book. Then we have Magnus Chase, Gods of Asgard, The Sword of Summer by Rick Riordan, first book. Yeah. Next we have the Forest Wife trilogy. This is by Teresa Tomlinson. Grace gave this to me last year, and I really want to read it because I think it's it looks just so interesting. So I've got the Forest Wife. Then we have The Diviners by Liva Bray. Want to definitely get to this book. And I'm just very sad that they have changed the covers on me, especially for the third book. So yeah, and I don't intend on buying the new covers. Next we have Crooked Kingdom by Lee Bardugo. I'm going to reread this book all the way from the beginning and hopefully get through it. I feel like Crooked Kingdom is like the book in the duology that no one can get through, and if they do, it's like, oh, they actually got through that book. And I'm not saying it's bad, I'm just saying that, like, I feel like the Crooked Kingdom should have just been like a standalone. But I get why she did another book because the characters are so amazing. But, yeah, so Crooked Kingdom. Whoop, moving the camera. Next, we have The Immortal Rules and The Eternal Cure by Julie Kagawa. These are vampire books, and for the longest time, I've wanted some really good vampire books, and I've heard these are really good. I've heard nothing but good things about The Immortal Rules, so I want to read these real soon. And the last book I have in this section is The Trials of Apollo, The Dark Prophecy, Book 2, by Rick Riordan. Again, another Rick Riordan. I don't know why it takes me so long to read Rick Riordan nowadays, but it does, and it makes me sad. So yeah, Rick Riordan. So that's for that little thing there. Those are all my Pandora hearts right there. I'm not going to go through those because I just hauled them. Alright, so next we're going to be doing the second shelf here. We're going to do the first layer, and then of course do the second layer of the second shelf. This one is pretty packed. This one looks really packed. So, yeah. And on here I have Simba and Nala as when they're kids, and I love them. So we're going to start off with The Exquisite Captive. This is by Heather Demetrios, but Exquisite Captive. It's about a genie. It's pretty cool. Yellow Brick Roar by Danielle Page. We got Fiendish by Brenna Jovanoff. We have The Call, and this is, I forgot who this is by. We've got Circle and Stones by Catherine Fisher. Then we have Unearthly by Cynthia Han. We have Half Bad by Sally Green. And Icons by Margaret Stoll. And then we also have The Book of Blood and Shadow by Robin Wesserman. So in this next one we have William Shakespeare's The Fourth Doth Awaken. We have The Queen of Hearts, and this is by Colleen Oakes. Sorry, this is by Colleen Oakes. We've got Steelheart by Brandon Sanderson. Brandon Sanderson's words. Then we have Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children by Ransom Riggs. I honestly don't know if I'm going to read it. I might even give it away. It's not a series that I'm interested in. Let's just say that. Then we have Eon by Allison Goodman. We have The Witch Hunter by Virginia Bocher. We have Aurella's Colors by a guy, his last name is Overstreet. We have The Walled City by Ryan Grodin. We have Unspoken by Sarah Rees Brennan. We have Off the Pages by Jodi Picoult and Samantha Van Leer. And then we have Eternal and Unspoken by C.C. Hunter, the second and third book in the Shadow Falls After Dark series. And then we also have The Diabolic here by S.K. Kincaid. S.J. Kincaid? S.K. Kincaid? S.J. Kincaid. Yeah. Next, we have The Stars Never Rise, and this is by Rachel Vincent. We have Black Widow, Forever Red by Margaret Stoll. We have The Zodiac Legacy Convergence by Stan Lee and some other people. We have The Game of Love and Death, and this is by Martha Brockenberg. We have H2O and The Storm. These are by Virginia Bergen. And then we have The Sea of Storms by, I think it's Kelly Armstrong. And then we have The Daughter of Ruin by someone whose last name is Kastner. Alright, so we're going to start off the second layer. We've got Stardust by Neil Gaiman. We've got The Morganville Vampires Volume 4 by Rachel Caine. We've got Ghost Town, Bike Club, and Daylighters. These are also by Rachel Caine as well. All of those books are in the Morganville Vampires series. Don't even know if I'll continue on with it. Maybe one day. Probably actually just going to get rid of all of them now that I think about it. It's not a series that I kind of want to continue. Next we have the Dorothy Must Die stories. I should probably put this with Yellow Brick Wars, but it's just here. We've got Every Day by David Leviathan. I should probably read this book because a movie's coming out. Then we've got Guardians of Tarnak. This is Lark Rising. I forgot who this is by. Next we have Partioles and Fragments. This is by Dan Wells. Then we've got The Iron Trials. This is by Holly Black and Cassandra Clare. And we've got To All the Boys I've Loved Before by Jenny Han. And then we've got Conversion by Catherine Howe. We've got Burn for Burn by Jenny Han and Sobhan Vivian. Then we've got Just One Year by Gail Foreman. We've got The Symptoms of My Insanity by Mindy Roth. We've got With Malice by Eileen Cook. We've got Daughter of Deep Silence by Carrie Ryan. We've got The Looking Glass Wars and Seeing Red by Frank Bedore. I've also got the third book, which I hauled, so I just need to slip it in there. Moving over, we've got Rune Mark by Joan Harris, right? Joanne Harris. We've got The Archive by Victoria Schwab. We've got Waterfall by someone whose last name is Bergen. Then we've got Storm Dancer, Singer, and Kinslayer by Jay Kristoff. Then we've got The School of Good and Evil, A World Without Princess, and The Last Ever After. And there's also going to be another book. And this is by, I forgot the first name, but the last name is Chinani. And these are middle grade. And then we have Seeker, and this is by Arwen Ellis Dayton. I've heard mixed reviews about this book, but I do want to read it, and I got it at the dollar store, so it was $1 when I got it. So yeah, that is the second shelf right there, and now I guess I'll go through this pile that's like right down there, and then we'll get to the third layer of books, and then we'll do my classics as well. So let's get to those. Alright, so we're going to do this little pile that's right here. I'm pretty sure this is out of focus. I didn't focus it before I hit start, so sorry if it is out of focus. But we've got Thumper, Bambi, and Flower here, so we'll just toss them off. Next we have The Rook by Danielle O'Malley. Sorry, not Danielle. Daniel O'Malley. This is an adult book that I am very interested in reading, so yeah. Next we have Red Rising by Pierce Brown. I do have the Golden Sun. I have the Golden Sun as well. It's right there. So yeah, so I have both of those. I have Dark Matter by Blake Crouch? Yeah, Dark Matter. Next I have Night Film, and this is by Marcia Pessel. I've heard this book is really good, so yeah. I've hauled this one. Next we have Thief's Convent. This is by Ari Marmel. I started reading it and then stopped reading it just because it kind of bored me slightly. Do want to get back to it though. I love the cover. We've got Avalon. This is by Mindy Arnett. Again, started it, bored me, so I stopped reading it, but I do want to get back to it as well. Next we have An Ember in the Ashes by Sabah Tahir. Yep, and then I also have A Torch Against the Night as well. I do want to finish these books, but An Ember in the Ashes, I got really far through it right here, but it was so depressing. But I do want to finish the book, and I do want to get to A Torch Against the Night as well. And I'm sad they did cover changes. Because they're horrible. Next, we have The Infinite Sea by Rick Yancey. This is the second book in the Fifth Wave trilogy. I do want to finish this book and also read The Last Star as well. But, this book, I started reading it and it just kind of bored me. If you don't read this one right after the Fifth Wave, then I feel like it just doesn't matter. And next we have The Throne of Fire by Rick Riordan. I started reading it, and then I stopped reading it because a book I wanted came out and I bought it and started reading that instead. So, but I do want to keep reading this book. I liked it. I started liking it a lot more than I liked The Red Pyramids. Alright, so we're going handheld now, so sorry if it's a little shaky, and also apologies if it's out of focus if I'm moving in and out. So the Simpson I have down here is another Pirates of the Caribbean one. It's the dog with the keys, and I think it's just so cute and fantastic. So it's here. Next we have another copy of Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson. We also have The Age of Heroes, which is the third book as well. Next we have The Serpent's Shadow by Rick Riordan. This is the third and final book in the Kane Chronicles. It's not a very good copy of it, but it's a copy of it. Next we have The Sorcerer, the Necromancer, and the Warlock by Michael Scott. These are the third, fourth, and fifth books in the series, The Secret of the Immortal Nicholas Flamel. So I do have those, and I feel like just getting rid of them because I feel like I'm never ever gonna read them. And I got all of those at like thrift stores or on sale. So part of me doesn't feel too bad about getting rid of them, but I feel like I just need to unhaul them because I'm not gonna read them. And I feel like I should just get rid of the other two as well. So yeah. So next, I have a lot of my adult books here. This is just a little pile of them. I have The Dragon Prince, and this is by Melanie Ron. It's book 1. A friend of mine, she said this is her favorite book ever, and I'm a little interested in reading it, so I got it. It is, though, mass paperback, but I want to read it, so I have it. Next we have The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. I do want to read this as well. I've never gotten to it. Next we have To Marry a Prince, and this is by Sophie Page. Grace gave this to me, and I should probably put it in my romance stuff. Yeah, probably be really easy to read. Just chuck that in. Next we have The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna. I believe it is. Yeah, Kristen Hanna. My friend Fian gave me this book, and I haven't read it yet, but I do want to read it soon. I find lots of copies of it everywhere at thrift stores, but I've already got a copy. Next, we have Scrappy Little No One by Anna Kendrick. I love her, and I got this at Barnes & Noble, and I haven't read it yet, but I do want to read it because it's Anna Kendrick, and I love her. Next we have Uprooted. This is by Naomi Novik. This is a fantasy book, and I like it, and I want to read it. And then there's The Golden Sun, and then we have Emperor of Thorns by Mark Lawrence. This is the third book in a trilogy. The first book, I think, is called Prince of Thorns, and then the other one is King of Thorns, and then Emperor of Thorns. So I need to get Prince of Thorns, but the thing is, I don't want to get that I don't want to get it as a mass paperback, and that's all I ever find it as. So, I'm gonna have to order it off Amazon or something. So going over here, we've got The Knife of Never Letting Go, The Ask and the Answer, and The Monster of Men. These are by Patrick Ness. So as you guys know from my first shelf, I have another copy of it, and I have the older copies of it as well. Next we have Firebirds Rising, and then Firebirds Soaring. These are compilation of short stories that are fantasy based by YA authors. Most of those authors I do not know, but I am very interested in reading the short stories and stuff like that. I'm not a huge short story fan, but I want to give it a shot, so I'm gonna. Okay, so we're on almost the final bit. We're close to the final bit. But right here is my Percy Jackson Greek Heroes by Rick Riordan. It's huge and I have nowhere to put it, so I just put it down there. Next we have The Beetle and the Bard by J.K. Rowling. Then we've got Order of the Phoenix, The Half-Blood Prince and Deathly Hallows, and then The Cursed Child, parts 1 and 2. I really need to read Harry Potter. I think I might take this one out and put it on my stack of books to read because I really want to finish reading Harry Potter. I feel like I'm maybe too old to be reading it for the first time. I don't know. Whatever. Yeah. Next we have Quintessence. This is by David Walton. Found this at the Dollar Tree, and I just don't want to give it up because I feel like it's going to be such a great story. Next we have a book that I have so much mystery about. It's called Atheraton and the House of Power. It's by Patrick Cameron. Thing is, it has a DVD in the back of it, and I want to know what it is, and I really want to read it. So maybe I'm gonna have to redo my bookshelf. Like after filming this, I'm just gonna redo my bookshelf. And next we have Enderman Spring. It's by Matthew Skelton. I found this book at a thrift store. I thought it was real interesting, and one of these days I definitely want to read it. I find it at like thrift stores and used bookstores all the time. I believe it's middle grade. Next we have Operation Red Jericho, and this doesn't even have an author on it, but it's so cool. It's got like things that come out, maps and schematics and stuff like that. It's like, I kind of feel like it's Illuminate a little bit, but more of an Indiana Jones type, and I do want to read it. And there's also other books as well, and I know there's like a bunch of them at McKay's, but I want to read this one first. And it's fabric, and it's got this little elastic here. Ooh, I want to read this year now. Every time I look at this, I'm like, I really want to read it. I'm taking it out. I'm going to read it one day. Then we have got The Glass Sentence by S.E. Grove. This is a middle grade, but it looks fantastic, and I want to read it. Next we have Here There Be Dragons. This is by James A. Owen. I started reading this book, and do I still have a bookmarker in it? I started reading this book. I do have a bookmarker in it. It's got Poe and Finn in it from Force Awakens. But it's got pictures, it's really cool, and I really need to finish it and read it. Next I have The Book Thief by Marcus Zuzak, which I'm actually going to get rid of because I know I'm never going to read it. Then we've got The Emerald Atlas by John Steffens. This is a middle grade book, but it looks fantastic, and I'm so interested in reading it. I kind of want to do like a marathon of middle grade someday in the future. And in that middle grade marathon, I will have all the Fablehaven books by Brendan Mull. He's probably the first author I've ever met, and I have a very vivid memory of meeting him. He came to my school, and we had like an assembly where he got to talk about writing and creativity and stuff like that. It was really interesting. So I found all of those at a thrift store, and I bought them, and I do want to read them. So yeah, those are my bottom shelf. Now I'm going to get to my classics. So here are all my classics, and we're going to go through them real quick because I'm running out of card space, and I kind of want to do this all in one go. So we've got From the Dust Return by Ray Bradbury, Treasure Island by Robert Louis Stevenson. We've got The Count of Monte Cristo and the Three Musketeers by Alexandre Dumas. We've got The Last Unicorn by Peter S. Beagle. We've got A Thousand Leagues Under the Sea by Jules Vernon. We've got Amadeus, which is a play by Peter Schaffer. We've got Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. We've got The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde, The Man in the High Castle by Philip K. Dick. We've got The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. We've got World of Worlds by H.G. Wells. Study in Scarlet by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. We've got Catch-22 by Joseph Heller. The Ultimate Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy by Douglas Adams. And then we have Grimm's Complete Fairy Tales by the Grimm's brother down here. And then the Poe Reader ends the Tale of Two Cities by Charles Dickinson. Boom! All done. And on top of those, I keep Daredevil and Black Widow. So those are all of the books I haven't read. All of them are on my TBR shelf. And I'm actually going to reorganize it now because I realize there's a better way of organizing this. But I'm not going to redo this whole entire thing because all you need to see is the books that I have. So those are all the books I have. If you like this video, please give it a like and comment down below about what book you thought looked interesting or what books you have read that I haven't read yet and that you liked. Also, make sure to subscribe down there and ring that bell as well if you would like to. I hope you guys are having a fantastic day. I will see you in the next video. Goodbye!